Imagine being able to practice your golf swing in the privacy of your own backyard. And going to the driving range can add up in price. Now don't worry, that was probably my worst swing. They're not all bad. Did I mention the privacy? Hi, I'm Peter from Health and Fitness Tech, and today I've got the SKLZ Home Driving Range kit, and I'll be doing an unboxing and first impressions review. Don't forget to visit the channel if you're interested in health and fitness tech that could help your health and fitness goals. In today's video, we'll be looking at the unboxing, setting up, what's my first impressions when using it, packing it away, and my final verdict. Before we unbox, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on more fitness reviews. If there's anything that you would like to see reviewed, don't be afraid to mention it in the comments. It all helps the channel. Okay, so let's get this box open. So we've got the tees. There's two of them that are different sizes. A pack of plastic golf balls, the instructions, and you're about to see later that I really need them. A carry bag. This contains the net and poles that you will see later. And finally, the golf mat that we're going to use so you don't destroy your lawn. Here's a quick overview of all the items. Also, when opening the bag, there's 3 pegs to pin the net down. Wouldn't want that flying away over the neighbor's fence. And 2 connectors to connect the rods together over the net so it stays up like a tent. Here's the example of an Australian Sydney suburban backyard, or lack of. This is where we'll be setting up the net, and you're about to see that it's enough space. Let's begin and get the items out that we need to set this bad boy up. I'm really looking at the instructions here, and I found that they're pretty vague. Also, I'm probably not the sharpest tool in the shed, so let's take that into account. We've got the poles. These will go through the net like a tent. Let's open up the net so we can see what we're working with here. And of course, my dog Lola needs to investigate this net. I guess she's given it the tick of approval. So I'm just randomly putting these poles through the net. By the way, don't do this. Instead, connect the 2 poles fully. There's a bottom and a top pole, and you'll then feed them through the net. So I'm feeding the poles through the net, and at this point, I still don't even know what's the inside or outside of the net. Now I'm feeding the second pole through the net. I'm still not even sure which one is the bottom or top. I'm literally terrible at this, so I'm sure you will do a lot better than I am. So it didn't work, so I thought, let's try again, and I took the poles out. I forgot to make sure the poles go through the other side. Yep, don't go camping with me if you are pitching a tent. So finally got the poles threaded through, and now I'm using the connector to connect the 2 poles together. Just putting the connector in for the second joint, and just have to bend the pole into the connector. And we finally got there. And at least I realized I needed to flip it around. But last thing we needed to do is put the pegs into the connectors. There are 2 at the front on each side and 1 at the back. Okay, woohoo! Finally finished. Now I guarantee you won't find it as difficult as I did, but we finally got there, and that's what counts. Here's an example of how the rough and fairway fake grass feel like. It's pretty much your standard fake grass, but you can see the height of it. So today we're using a couple of drivers and irons. So these are my first attempts at using the golf mat. I started with using the driver with plastic balls on the fairway of the mat without a tee. It does take a while to get used to because the mat is higher than grass level, so it's actually quite high, and I'm worried about hitting the mat itself. You're seeing some classic air swings from someone who isn't good at golf yet. Also, when it's on the fairway without a pin, the ball can roll off. Oh, but don't worry, this is just my first set of attempts. Lucky for me and you, I do improve as I go along. Maybe a little. We've got a similar beginning with using the iron, the plastic ball on the fairway and no tee. Couple air swings and a good old grubber on the ground. Time to switch over to golf balls. Plastic were okay and definitely on the safe side, but you don't get that feedback, sound and satisfaction as you would with a golf ball. We're going to use the higher tee, and I'm just going to try and send them. It's just as easy as sliding the tee through the whole of the golf mat. Here's some examples of using the driver with the tee. The sound's good, and the net seems to be able to handle it easily. Just have to be careful of how high your shots are going, since I had one that was near the top of the frame. So here's a close-up of the swings. As you can see, I've got the mat quite close to the net, and FYI, the ball does rebound back. The second ball actually did hit me in the cheek, but it wasn't coming quick. So I'm going to move the mat back one step to see how it is further away from the net. In these shots, I've moved the mat another step back and it's still going okay. None of the shots missed the net because that's what I was worried about when I'm going further back when I place the net. Here is the view from the back of the net. It takes it like a champ, whether it's the plastic or actual golf balls. It's all fun and games until you have to get the balls. Yeah, it's great that there's a bunch of plastic balls provided, as you can pick them up in a bunch. I found it's easier to lift up the nets at the back to pick up the balls that get stuck. Now it's finally time to pack it up. Let's start with taking the pegs out. I don't want to forget the third one at the back. So we'll take the rod out of the connectors. It's just moving the strap and just pretty much pulling the rod out. We'll do it for both sides and it will become flat. So it's now flat, and this would be where you would take the rods out of the net slides. However, today I'm just going to leave it as is, because if you do have somewhere to store it flat, that is also an option. I'm just going to store them here for now because I think I'll play tomorrow. Although in most cases, you just have to pack it up by feeding the rods out and just getting everything into the bag. So what's my first impressions of the SKLZ Home Driving Range kit? I'm pretty happy with it. It lets me practice my golf swing at home, it works, the ball doesn't go through the net, materials look decent quality, and I'll save a ton of money not having to go to the driving range every time. I like that it can be set up anywhere, so if you lived in an apartment or have no access to a yard, you can just take it to a park. I find I'm still getting used to it, and we'll see how the longevity of it is. I'm Peter from Health and Fitness Tech, and thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.